खाना काबा ये पुकारा, मिलके लगाओ सभी हैदरी नारा।
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Our fourth reason to prove that the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam could not have been worried that Taraweeh could become obligatory is as follows. The hadith of Zayd ibn Thabit, the first one and the second one, which we recited to you in the previous lectures, affirmed that the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam dispersed the band of Sahaba who wanted to perform Taraweeh in assembly behind the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and have the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam as their Imam. And that hadith, the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, while dispersing that band of Sahaba, commanded them to perform the nightly prayers at their homes. فَصَلُّوا فِي بُيُوتِكُمْ. Pray in your homes. If indeed performing recommended actions causes recommended actions to become obligatory, and that is the fear because of which the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam does not want to become part of Taraweeh, then why the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam commands these Muslims to perform nightly prayers at their homes? Since nightly prayers are recommended, and when the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam commands them, فَصَلُّوا فِي بُيُوتِكُمْ, pray in your homes, go pray in your homes. The idea is that he wants them to pray in their homes. And if they pray at their homes consistently, it will become wajib, it will become obligatory, and he doesn't want that. So why the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is not being careful? Why is he forgetting that performing this salah would cause it to become wajib? Unless we admit that there is no such principle. There is no such rule that performing recommended prayers causes them to become wajib. The hadith I referred to you is in Bukhari and also in many other books of hadith. We have previously showed to you these hadith in detail. Bukhari, volume number 1, page number 391, hadith number 698, on the authority of Zayd ibn Thabit, said that it was Zayd ibn Thabit said, Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam made a small room in the month of Ramadan, and then a group of Sahaba wanted to pray behind him. The Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam kept on sitting. He went out to them and said, I've seen and understood what you did. You should pray in your houses. For the best prayer of a person is that which he prays in his house, except the compulsory prayers. So he ordered them to pray in their homes. The nightly prayers, they go and pray at their homes. Why did so? While performing these salats would cause them to become obligatory. That is the contention, that is the assumption, that is the claim. That sums up our fourth reason. Our fifth reason, the plurality of jurists from the opposing fellowship of Muslims contend that performing daily prayers, the Fajr prayer, the noon prayer, the afternoon prayer, the evening prayer, and the dusk prayer, these prayers, performing them in jama'ah, in assembly, is not obligatory. Rather, it is a very emphasized and a very stressed sunnah, very important act of recommendation that one must uphold. Let me show you a book by Ibn Taymiyyah. Al-Fatawa al-Kubra by Ibn Taymiyyah al-Harrani, volume number 2, published by Dar al-Kutub al-Ilmiyyah, published in the year 1408. Let's go to page 267 and then 269 of this book. Page number 229. Question number 146. Ibn Taymiyyah is posed with this question: في صلاة الجماعة هل هي فرض عين أم فرض كفاية أم سنة? Ibn Taymiyyah, answer us please. Is Salatul Jama'ah performing salawat, performing prayers in assembly. A fardu ayn, wajib ayni, wajib al-kifayi, or recommended. Sunnah mu'akkada. For Ibn Taymiyyah goes into detail and gives a very detailed response. First, he explains why Salatul Jama'ah is a very virtuous action that entails humongous thawab and reward and the hereafter. Then after he explains that, he mentions that scholars are divided and dispute amongst themselves on this question. Page number 230. ولكن تنازع العلماء بعد ذلك. After we establish beyond a doubt that performing salawat, performing prayers in assembly entails great rewards, al-ulama, scholars, are in disagreement with respect to في كونها واجبة على أعيان, whether jama'ah is wajib ayni or wajib al-kifai or a very important sunnah. There's three sayings. Who is the majority? قيل هي سنة مؤكدة فقط. The first opinion is that Salatul Jama'ah is a recommended action. وهذا هو المعروف عن أصحاب أبي حنيفة. And this is widely held by scholars who follow Ibn Abi Hanifa. وأكثر أصحاب مالك, in the majority of Malik's followers. وكثير من أصحاب الشافعي, and a very big portion of Shafi'i's followers. ويذكر رواية عن أحمد, and also Ahmad has been narrated to have expressed this opinion. And you know, the majority of the Umari assembly consists of the Hanafis. They are the majority. And then if you add on top of that Malikis and Shafi'i, then the absolute majority would become that group which contends that Jama'ah prayers is sunnah mu'akkada, and emphasized recommendation. And it's not required, it's not obligatory. Now, according to this vast plurality, this huge majority of the Umari fellowship contend that Jama'ah of daily prayers is not obligatory and it is a recommended action. The question rises, the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was always very careful to perform his daily prayers in Jama'ah. And daily prayers, by virtue of themselves, they are obligatory. Yet, according to these scholars, performing these obligatory prayers in Jama'ah and assembly itself is a recommended action. The Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was very persistent and very constant in performing his daily prayers in Jama'ah. Why it did not become obligatory? If the assumption is performing a recommended action consistently entails it becoming wajib or obligatory, then performing Salatul Jama'ah should have become obligatory per the majority of Muslims, and there should have been a consensus on this matter, whereas the majority of the Umari fellowship, they maintain that it is recommended. Unless we acknowledge that there is no such principle. There is no such principle that if you are consistent with the performing recommended actions, these recommended actions become obligatory. And inshallah, I've put forward these 5 reasons for this matter, and in my Arabic and Farsi and Urdu lectures, there are more reasons to nullify and prove void the assertion that performing recommended prayers make them obligatory. You can find those reasons in those lectures, and I don't see any reason to bring forth more arguments to prove this point, because what I've presented so far is sufficient and adequate to the task. Thank you so much, and inshallah tabaraka wa ta'ala, our discussion with respect to Taraweeh continues. May Allah bless you all. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala